Hello, History 201. My name is Kelsey, and I am going to be introducing my final video project, which is going to be on the hypocrisy of our founding fathers. My thesis statement reads as America's founding fathers were revolutionary leaders who united the 13 colonies against Britain for independence and established the framework for America's government that is still used in the modern era. Despite building a nation based on freedom, some of the founding fathers' actions directly oppose and contradict this fight for freedom. I just want to briefly go over who the founding fathers include. They include George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, and John Jay. So, what exactly were the founding fathers' beliefs? What did they stand for? This could be grouped into three different categories. We have liberty, we have justice, and we have self-governance. This would go on to become the bedrock on which America was founded. To deep dive into liberty, that really just consists of the colonists and founding fathers fought for a society where individual freedoms would be protected. The Declaration of Independence states that men are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, chief among them being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To deep dive into justice, that really just means that we built a society based on fairness and rule of law. We have equal justice under law. And we have self-governance. That really just means that power should be derived from the people, not monarchs or unelected elites. Individuals have the power to elect officials, influence laws, and hold the government accountable. Not all founding fathers were hypocritical or super corrupt, but we are going to just deep dive into a few of them. First and foremost, we have George Washington. Washington gradually came to dislike slavery and realized that it went against what the Revolutionary War was fought for. In 1774, he endorsed the Fairfax Results, which condemned the slave trade as unnatural. He did not ever speak out publicly against slavery. He did state that he did not want to purchase another slave again, but did not go on to grant the freedom of enslaved people on his plantation until after him and his wife's deaths. And we have Thomas Jefferson up next. Throughout Jefferson's entire life, he was publicly against slavery and called it a moral depravity. He believed that gradual emancipation and deportation of the slaves was the key resolution. He did also think that Black Americans were racially inferior and believed that white Americans, Black Americans were two separate classes. He also had a sexual relationship with one of the enslaved women working at his house in Paris. Her name was Sally Hemings. This is a very controversial thing in of itself that is a little bit too much to get into, and we're going to stray from the main topic. But that did result in several children from that. And then we also have Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton had a strong dislike for slavery and what he observed of slavery from his childhood. Although he disliked slavery and observed the cruelties that happened during his childhood from slavery, at any chance to elevate his status, he jumped on it and swallowed his pride and his opinions when it came to slavery. He did directly benefit from slave labor, and when push came to shove on his opinions of the enslavement of people, he swallowed his beliefs. He also had the first major sex scandal in U.S. history. We then have Benjamin Franklin. This is going to just wrap it up for us. In his early years, Franklin did directly benefit from the slave trade and slave labor. He also advertised the sale of enslaved people in his paper, Pennsylvania Gazette. He began to have a 360 in perspective on slavery around the 1750s and then became a prominent abolitionist by the 1780s. Although he had a 360 flip on opinion of slavery, he did not go on to free his slaves. I would just like us to reflect that while these founding fathers did not agree with slavery, they did not go out of their way to elevate these people and make sure everybody had equality and freedom for all.